progress.
Okay, Counselor.
Thank you. The special council meeting for October the 24th is called to order. It's
The time is 6:36.
6:36. Madam Clerk, call the roll.
Counselor Bahoviak,
Present.
Counselor Stevenson. Counselor Downing,
Present.
Counselor Smith, Counselor Martin.
Present.
You have a quorum, sir.
Thank you. Let's move on.
Remarks of public on agenda items only. Anybody on Zoom? Okay, move on.
Okay, let's move on.
Legislation, ordinance number 6022, an amendment to ordinance number 1420, authorizing the use of a portion of the city of East Cleveland's local fiscal recovery funds and authorizing the mayor to accept an award of $2,913,760 from the city of Cleveland Division of Water Suburban Water Main Renewal Program for water line replacement to support the engineering design and replacement of 5,900 feet of water lines in the city along Euclid Avenue. Approving the expenditure of $2,440,463 in funds by the city and declaring an emergency due to time constraints. Sponsored by Nathaniel Martin, Chair, Executive Committee. Please hand the Vice President the gavel.
I've given the gavel to the Vice President Ernest Smith.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, ordinance number 60-22 bears your name. What is your pleasure?
Thank you. Our sponsor, ordinance 6022, and move for its adoption.
And moved in second, is there a discussion?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
When this was moved from one committee to another, there was a discussion of this money being from the ARPA funds. Whatever happened to that discussion?
I don't remember that.
This is being paid by ARPA funds. That's
ARPA
why it
funds,
was
right?
moved on.
Right.
This is city ARPA
It's
funds.
ARPA funds, okay.
This was rewritten by the
The
law
law
firm
director.
of Ricker.
Ricker and Ecker, okay.
Correct.
So I move that we amend this ordinance to state that the expenditure of the $2,440,463 in ARPA funds.
So what is your amendment, Ms. Blover?
It's to add in ARPA funds.
So you want to go? Bring in, so what you're saying?
Mhm.
Okay, is there a second?
$463 in ARPA funds, correct?
Yes.
All right.
Okay.
Need a second
You
motion?
have to take a
I take
vote.
my motion off, if you give me the amendment. I take
No,
my
you don't have to take it off.
You can't do two motions on top of each other.
You motion to amend comes after the original motion. There's no reason to take his, to rescind this.
We always been doing it like that to make sure that. And my clerk will
Yeah.
stop you, please,
Okay, so you want me to withdraw my motion?
please.
Okay. I'll
Because
withdraw
we
my-
get ready to change it.
Okay. Now, what's the amendment? What's the amendment, Ms. Clover?
The thing, instead of saying. that it-
She's saying ARPA,
Yeah,
right?
just put it in ARPA
We
Okay,
got to call
so
for the vote to.
to remove it.
I need
Do
a
we have a
second.
second?
it's 3 seconds.
Who seconded?
County Second Martin amendment to withdraw his
Yeah,
motion.
because I'm going to, withdraw also.
So
Okay.
you call for the vote, Madam Clerk.
What are we voting
To
on?
withdraw his motion, so you can make your motion.
I don't have to vote on his
We
withdrawal.
add to it.
He wa-
They
he-
always have.
We are compromising with what you want. Please, let's just keep this train rolling. Let him take his motion off the floor.
Yeah.
so
He
you
took
can-
his motion off the floor.
Okay, right, so now we trying to vote. She called your name for the vote, yea or nay.
Allow him to take his motion off.
That's all I'm saying.
It's
Yea or
none of-
nay to
it's
allow him-
none of my business whether he takes it off. It's
Okay,
his
so
business.
so it should be none of our business that you want this word added in here.
We getting ready to add something to.
We trying to add it for
And
you.
then we add something to it, do it need a new number?
No.
Okay,
No.
I'm just making sure, we just trying to
It's an
cover
amendment
our
and then you vote on the amendment.
Okay, okay, that's fine.
Motion to adopt.
And I
And
do
the
too.
sponsor, Counselor Gowdy seconded it. Now we need just, take the vote, just to let them know that we withdrew.
To add to.
Yeah, we withdrew, I withdrew.
Okay, start.
Let's have a vote, let's have a vote, please.
So this is a motion on the floor to withdraw the motion to accept and sponsor as it is written now. And Counselor Gowdy seconded it. Now I need to take a vote.
The motion on the floor is the motion to amend.
So we vote on the
No.
amendment.
And we
No.
need a second on the vote,
First
motion to amend.
Motions.
First motion on the floor. The first motion on the floor respectfully was Council President's motion.
And
Correct.
That's the first motion.
Correct.
That's the motion that we want to take off the table to accommodate your motion.
It doesn't need to come off the table.
But we want it off the table.
Well, then you took your motion off. You have that right.
Right,
Okay,
so
so
we
now
calling for the vote.
Call for the vote to take it off.
That's all. Now we calling for the vote to take the motion off. Make sure everyone.
call the roll.
Okay. Counselor Bowman. Are you gonna abstain, Counselor Bowman?
No, I'm not.
Yeah, let's see what she gonna.
This is for him, and he's withdrawing that he was going to adopt. As it
Right.
was. So that's
Right.
what it is, the motion. He's withdrawing his motion to adopt it at this time. So, they want to take the vote, Counselor Bahovia? Okay, Counselor Gowdy,
Yeah.
Counselor Smith,
Yeah,
Counselor Martin,
Yay.
okay.
thank you.
Now,
Council Martin.
Counselor-
Yeah, we gonna make sure we make a
Vote
meeting.
to amend.
Get it to ARPA, 2,400,000. 40,463.
And the ARPA will vote in for funds, the last sentence. Counselor Gowdy has seconded it.
Okay.
Now I'll take the
Well,
vote.
we need to.
Hold on, she never made a motion.
Never made a motion.
You never said anything.
Oh, Counselor Bowman, you want to make the motion?
I already made the motion.
Okay, she already made a motion.
We need to.
Bird says Council Martin withdraw withdrew his motion.
We gotta do
I'm
it.
trying to do everything correct. All she got to do is make a motion and we can change it and move on. It's simple.
All right. Where we at right now, Madam Clerk?
Well, wait, let the record. Stevenson's here.
All right.
The time is 6:44. Although this place made a motion to amend with the word ARPA. Counselor Gowdy did state that he would second that.
It's been
So
second.
now we need to take the vote.
Just a question, just a clarification.
Yes.
Was that before or after we just voted for?
She had her motion on the floor. That's why Counselor Martin.
That will make two motions
Right.
on the floor. I don't want that.
Right.
So I would love, so we withdrew. So the Councilman withdrew. I would love for her to make her motion second.
That's all she.
The motion that I already made is to add the word ARPA before funds.
Second.
And I already made that motion.
And Counselor Gowdy second.
I second it.
All right, the vote, Counselor Bahoviak,
Yay.
Counselor Gowdy. Counselor Smith.
Yeah.
Counselor Martin.
Yay,
Amended to read-
We have another person here.
yeah.
Oh, Counselor
From
Stevens.
Van
I don't
Stevens.
need to vote on this, because I didn't get no information.
Come on,
Y'all
come
good.
on,
Well, you
come
can
on.
vote or either way, but you're here, you need to be polled for your
No,
statement.
no, because I didn't get my information.
All right.
Okay, give her the information, so we won't say she did not get it.
No,
Okay.
I'm sorry, Tracy. I requested in writing, I requested the information from the Department of Development, and I never got it.
I'm just saying. it should be the agenda.
I'm not saying that. I'm saying that the information I requested from development never came. That's all.
That passed.
Right,
They never sent.
right.
Where are we right now, Madam Clerk?
So it's been amended
Okay.
to say ARPA funds.
I
right,
move
so
that
do
we
we need a motion?
pass,
And Counselor Stevenson, are you going to ask, or just,
abstain, or
abstain?
what?
She's gonna abstain.
What did I say?
Right now,
No, that's-
Counselor Martin, we need a motion.
The ARPA fund,
I
the ARPA
sponsor-
fund money,
and
we
move-
can throw in that one. The
I
ARPA fund.
sponsor the motion to adoption 6022 as amended. Okay,
I need a
I-
second.
I would second, but I would like to comment right away that that was that was a motion both as amended and originally changed to make it from our funds. That was something that I did, and I would like to be on there sponsoring it.
put it on there, put it on, please, let's, yeah, please. Okay. You want to read it again, or do we need to
Yeah.
read it again, please?
Ordinance number 6022, well, let me take, it's good to read an amendment.
Right,
Ordinance number 1420, authorizing the use of a portion of the city of East Cleveland's local fiscal recovery funds and authorizing the mayor to accept an award of $2,913,760 from the city of Cleveland Division of Water Suburban Water Main Renewal Program for water line replacement to support the engineering, design, and replacement of 5,900 feet of water lines in the city along Euclid Avenue, approving the expenditure of $2,440,463 in ARPA
ARPA funds.
funds by the city and declaring an emergency due to time constraints.
okay. And I made the motion on that, did I get a second?
Yes.
Seconded by
Okay.
Councilor
All right.
Robiak, Shell sponsor.
Right, see, that put it as a co-sponsor.
Everybody wants to co-sponsor this
Yes,
one?
we do.
All right. Counselor Stevenson, did you want to co-sponsor?
I ain't getting no information.
Okay.
I say no.
No.
Counselor
no
Robiak,
information.
Yay.
Counselor Gowdy,
Yeah.
Counselor Smith,
Yeah.
Counselor Martin.
Yeah,
and
thank you,
Emergency.
thank you.
Now it's
And-
remarks
and-
and requests of the public.
Right, and just for the record, we have to pass it today,
Yeah, Keisha's online.
right? She's online?
Yeah.
Keisha?
Yes, I'm here. My apologies for joining late.
That's okay, we passed the legislation, so we don't need. you. Thank
Yeah,
you.
I know we'll need her for the other
Yeah,
one.
we'll need you for the other stuff, but we passed this infrastructure, the 2 million, water line replacement.
Okay,
It just
Thank you.
passed,
thank you, councilors.
thank you.
Thank you.
All right, let's move this, we need to, I'll take the gavel back. Marks and request of the public, 3 minutes, anyone on this? You got 3 minutes.
Vita Said, messenger. I actually, I'm actually going to look at some of this, past information concerning, the city of Cleveland and, putting in money with, for East Cleveland. Because it seems like the little bits and pieces of money they put in, the goal for some of us here that, to have East Cleveland to be East Cleveland is, that's another way of making East Cleveland into a Cleveland city. Is all this little, funds here and there being deposited here and there. I mean, of course, we need it, but then at the same time, I think it should be maybe a clause somewhere stated that, all this, get all these gifts is not to create a situation where we're so dependent on Cleveland that it becomes, that East Cleveland becomes Cleveland. Are you getting me? You know what I'm saying?
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay, responsible council and mayor to remark to the public. Corinne Stevenson?
Yeah, I don't have anything pertaining to this.
Okay,
I don't know what everybody else is doing, but October is Breast Awareness Month. And the community has a need to be involved in these kinds of things because this community, like every other community, has people that have suffered and died from breast cancer. So I tried to do my part and put out a display at the library and give some information to the fire department and send out a lot of information to people. But there hasn't been, I noticed that there's not a lot of activity around that or any other illness that comes down the pike in the city. So I'd like for us to take a better look at that and start to actually identify with some of the national trends moving forward.
Thank you. Patricia Bloviak?
Well, since the topic of breast cancer awareness came up, as a physician, I'd like to mention to people that there are two things that people can do in their lives that will decrease their risk of breast cancer. One of them is to eat a lower fat diet because a high fat diet is associated with increased risk of breast cancer. And the other is to avoid known carcinogens. And if we're talking about known carcinogens, some of them include what's called fragrance on the list of ingredients in many of our cosmetics, whether it's the products we use on our hair, on our faces, the things we wash with, the things we clean our houses with. And using many of those, since they don't specify which ones they're using, we have to avoid them all if we really want to decrease our risk. So that's an ad for using fragrance-free products to decrease risk of breast cancer. In addition, I have been teaching knitting and crocheting at the farmer's market, and I'm in discussion now with moving that as the weather gets cooler. I've also been doing some music education after school. And one of the things we know about the prevention of addiction in young people is that if we get them involved in activities that they find engrossing, that they are much less likely to become addicted. So whether you're talking about sports or science, whether you're talking about music or some other sort of art, whether you're talking about chess or which activities you are discussing, getting the young people involved in activities, and that means for us as adults, providing options to them, we are much less likely to have addiction problems. Thank you.
Thank you. Juanita Gotti?
Yeah, thank everybody for coming out today. I am so glad we passed the legislation, so we can have our streets and stuff, our pipes and stuff ready for what's getting ready to take place, for our streets to finish getting done on east side of our streets, especially the pipes. You see those pipes, but all over the place. And I'm glad that we do have money now to go under that ground and fix some pipes. So I'm just so happy that we passed this list.
Thank you. Ernest Smith?
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you to my colleague, great clerk. Thank you, everyone online, and especially our residents, our neighbors who came out tonight. The weather is good, so I know you had to stop enjoying your weather to come take on your health interest, rights, and needs. So I believe I can speak for everyone that we definitely appreciate it. As Councilwoman said, this piece of legislation is very, very important for the safety of our residents. I really want to thank OHM, Ms. Keisha Chambers, for all your diligent, great work surrounding this piece of legislation and this piece of the Euclid Avenue water main line program. Thank you all.
Thank you. I'll be very brief. I want to thank the council. I want to thank Keisha Chambers for her help. We passed this, it's law now. It's going to benefit the citizens of East Cleveland. Okay. I would accept the motion to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second. The meeting is adjourned. Go to the next meeting.
And I'm ready to, want to pass the gavel to Ms.
Here,
Gowdy,
you got it. You go to your meeting.
Tracy, will you send me a signed copy when you get a chance? I can share it with the contractor.
I sure will.
Thank you. Y'all have a good evening.
You too.
Oh, wait,
Keisha?
I need you on this one. There's two
Oh,
things.
okay.
They have to do with the Ohio Regional Sewer District.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that.
The Ohio Regional Sewer District. one is-
Okay, sure. Mm-hmm.
Sorry, Counselor.
Okay.
This is contractor property, I cheer this, and I, looking forward to hoping that we get some things done. Especially with our engineer, you know, so it's a need in our city to, like we said, to fix up this water and sewer problem. And the broken pipes that we have up underground. And contractor property, and we got Zoom, join us in Zoom. And, I'm getting ready to call to order. Call the roll.
Okay, you want to call it, it's at, the time is 6:57.
The time is 6:57, and we get ready to start. contract.
Okay, so the people in your committee, Counselor Martin,
Present.
Counselor Stevenson,
Present.
Counselor Gowdy.
Present.
Okay, you have all of your members and yourself, and we also have present, Counselor Bohoviac and Counselor Smith.
And we also have remarks from the public agenda. If anybody have anything that they would like to say about this agenda that we get ready to move forward. All right, so legislation.
Okay, the first piece is ordinance number 6422. This is an ordinance granting a conditional use permit pursuant to section 1123.03 AP off-street open air vehicular parking facilities as an accessory use for Cuyahoga County Land Reutilization Corporation LLC at 12550 Euclid Avenue, East Cleveland, Ohio. Is there somebody online as part of this request?
I don't see any present.
I don't see anyone either.
No, and they got the email.
Okay, let's move on then. Okay, go ahead.
We're gonna move on.
Next is ordinance number 6522, an ordinance granting a conditional use permit pursuant to section 1123.03 A, place of education, and section 1123.03 AN for Rated G Care and Enrichment Academy LLC at 16342 Euclid Avenue. Is there anybody here representing? Anybody on Zoom representing a place of education? Yes, they don't.
Okay, so we're
Condition
gonna
ordinance?
Move on.
Ordinance number 6622, an ordinance granting a conditional use permit pursuant to section 1123.03 AA, place of education, and section 112303 AN for Heart with a Heart Family Childcare LLC, located at 16005 Terrace Road. Is there anybody here from Heart with a Heart? Is there anybody on Zoom from Heart with a Heart? All right, hold on.
Okay, so.
Move on.
Resolution number 6822 is resolution authorizing and directing mayor to do all things necessary to participate in the Northeast Ohio Regional Sewer District Program for Wheeler Avenue Storm Sanitary Sewer System Reconstruction Project, including but not limited to executing any and all applications, agreements, and or contracts as may be required by the Northeast Ohio Regional Sewer District in order to secure the grant funds in the amount of $366,900.
$366,936.
Keisha got mine to answer.
Keisha? Keisha Chambers, can you hear me?
I can hear you, Councilman.
Would you articulate or say something about,
Yes. This project is for sewer line replacement along Wheeler Avenue. The sewer district had identified an undersized sewer in that area that was causing some basement backups. So we did a study, which you may recall, was the money we received in 2000 from the sewer district for Wheeler Avenue. That allowed us to do an actual study. Once the study was completed, then we could determine that increasing the pipe size would solve the sewer basement backups. And this request is to use those funds to replace that sewer line.
Thank you. Any other questions about this?
She's here now. Ask a question.
Well,
Go ahead, Ms.
Um,
Clovet.
Wait,
again,
who's chairing the meeting?
I'm cheap.
Thank you. Who's chairing the meeting?
Okay.
All right, go ahead, Ms. Clovet.
excuse me,
Councilor Gardner, this is something about, excuse
Yeah.
me.
All right.
Go ahead,
I'm
Councilwoman.
sorry. I'm sorry.
I know we've had this discussion before, but it's never been satisfactory to me. What is this all things necessary?
All right.
Well, we said petition. We did not say that. We changed it. You remember?
Well, it says all things necessary on here.
And they
We
didn't,
had discussion on that, but we never really.
they didn't change it.
Okay, we haven't changed it.
No. It was,
We get in here to talk about it. He only had a. About it. We did good thing. Keisha.
Yes,
All things necessarily, what does that mean?
all things necessary are the requirements from the sewer district. So necessary would be to make sure that the contract is signed. Necessary for as far as submitting the grant and following all of the information outlined by the grant, which means that we turn in our progress reports, which means we notify the sewer district of progress meetings. Just make sure that we are in alignment with the requirements from the sewer district.
So are you okay with this language, Keisha Chambers?
I am.
All right.
Well, we did do
Okay.
The
Because that can be anything, so, I mean, the language is the language, but we don't want to draw this out no longer, we need to pass this, so. Whatever changes that we need to make, let's make the changes. Immediately. Okay, we wanna
Miss-
thank you
Miss,
for,
Wait a minute.
hold up, you have to wait. It's already been talking. We really want to thank you for explaining that to us, because we know that will it need to be done real bad, and we know that people houses is actually is, the sword is going into the people houses and stuff like that. So we thank you for the research. It has been since 2000, that's been a long time, so we need to get busy. Thank you. Go ahead, Councilwoman Patricia.
I find Ms. Chambers' explanation to be quite adequate. If we would put that wording in instead of this all things necessary, I would be perfectly comfortable voting for this resolution. But this all things necessary is not something that I can support.
So what
We're going to remove that anyway.
Okay, but I want to hear what's your suggestion, what language?
Well,
would you put there?
she just gave us language.
Well, no, she's.
I mean-
she
agreed with all things.
You only agreed to
I
whatever,
agree with the language is here.
you only
She
agree with
agrees with
that.
that.
She thinks that language is fine, but she gave us an explanation. And
Right,
if we
she gave
took-
us an explanation.
and if we took the words from her explanation, I would, and put those in instead of this all things necessary.
We only said.
So
petition back.
My question, if I can, Madam Chairman, my question is, what is the language?
Go ahead.
What is the language that you recommend?
Exactly what she said.
What did she say?
I don't even remember all that I said, but I would say that it's to be within agreement. of any ordinance
you
or
have not
contract.
been. Hold up.
Give us some solid language, Keisha.
I would say, and I don't have it in front of me, so you'd have to massage, so the context is right, but basically it's to be to follow the agreement as specified by NEORSD, to follow the contract as specified, or to follow all agreements as specified.
Yeah,
How about to follow all agreement?
it's already said,
All right.
it's already said. So again, we
Yeah.
really want to thank you for, coming out and,
It's
sharing
in
that
there.
with us. It's already in
It's
there.
already,
And, we just looking forward to getting this done, so we all can be happy.
thank you, Ms. Chambers.
Thank you.
Is that all for me? I can go?
We got one more.
We got one
We
Come
more.
on,
more.
okay.
We got one more,
So,
Chambers. Go ahead.
we,
Number
this
six.
is this the first read?
Yeah, this is the first read.
This is just a business review. Yeah,
Right,
this
this
is
is
a
the first
business
read.
review, so we cannot,
We don't vote
we don't
nothing.
vote on this at all. So,
Okay, let's go to the next one.
okay, let's go to the next one.
Ordinance number 6922. Resolution authorizing the mayor and directing the mayor to do all things necessary to participate in the Northeast Ohio Regional Sewer District Program for the East Cleveland Sewer Infrastructure involving the target area, multi-street sewer replacement phase 1 project, including but not limited to executing any and all applications, agreements, and or contracts as may be required by the Northeast Ohio Regional Sewer District in order to secure the grant funds in the amount of $2,722,725.
Okay, Ms. Chambers, you want to articulate that and make the difference and make this distinction between 6822 and 6922, please.
Yes, so this project, and I believe you all are familiar with the project titled Circle East Development. That's the streets off
Right.
of Euclid that we've been working with the land bank on. So the many phases for infrastructure repair in that area include sewer line and water line replacements. So this funding is for the sewer line replacement along Woodland Avenue. And we will also be installing a new sewer along Euclid to connect to a culvert that is along Euclid as well, perpendicular to Euclid, coming out of Lakeview Cemetery. So it is there are some combined sewers along that stretch. So we will be separating the sewers, all sewers, so we'll have separate sewer lines, sanitary lines, and separate storm lines. And this is phase 1. So as we continue with that development project, we will continue to phase the sewer line and water line and road replacement work.
Thank
Any
you.
more discussion? Do you have anything that you would like to say, as a
Again,
woman?
Is there a match to these grants? I mean, because,
Did you hear a question,
come-
Teacher Chambers?
Mr. Martin, please.
No, I asked you
Yes.
to do your question.
I did hear her, yes.
I can't hear you.
She asked a match to these grants.
Right.
Can I finish?
Go ahead,
Can I finish?
go ahead.
We keep getting money from Cleveland and that's fine. But is there a match required on this money? Because it seems that we get this grant request for the amount of money we're going to write the grant for. And then something happens and there's a match suddenly that appears. So is there a match to this 6922 or 6822? Is there a match required for this money?
Yes, there is a match that the sewer district requests from all communities that apply to the MCIP program, and that is a 20% match. So what we do is we leverage other funds. So the funds we've gotten from the water department to replace the water line work can be leveraged towards that match. We're also have gone for appropriation funds that we're still waiting for the response back from, but we will use those funds as well. And then there's also the community shares funds. So there's another bucket of NEORSD funds that they apply to communities, and we have access to use that as a match as well.
So how much is that?
Can I?
You know, and my apologies, I do not have that right in front of me, but if you give me just a moment, I can look it up in my files and
Okay,
give you
Thank
the information.
okay, you can go ahead.
Since there's a match to these grants, can we just put the match amount in these preambles up front? So, I mean, it seemed like we're moving backwards.
The
It's saying-
the one thing with the matches, I can definitely give you what we put into the application. My only hesitance about putting it into the preamble is if we get some money from somewhere else, and then we have to come back and revise the preamble.
But right now, what I'm seeing is the money is coming out of general fund. The previous, last year, we did this and the money came out of general fund.
Well, when we worded it, all comes out of general fund because that's where all of the grant funds go into. Right now, I don't think you have separate funds or fund accounts set up to receive or hold like capital improvement or infrastructure dollars. So the way I've been told to list it is as general funds, but the grant funds go into the general fund.
But that's commingling fund. Never mind.
Okay, so
Just-
what I need to ask you is there some way somehow that we can get a paper trail of how much is in there and how much is going to be spent and how much is the match? Like you say, 20% and stuff like that, and just put it all into.
That would be a finance director question as far as how to set up, I guess, those accounts.
Yes, we need to know what's in each account, so we'll know how to table it and what we're looking for in case if they do come back and say that, this is a match or something like that, we need to know what we match.
If I could,
Hold up.
I could share screen.
Yeah,
Can I
because we don't have nothing in front of us, so I understand what my colleague is saying, some of it.
Can I, if I can share screen that I can show you how we allocated the funds, if that's, or do you just want me to send it to you, Tracy, and you can distribute?
Tracy, our clerk, our clerk, Madam Clerk is right here.
So you just want me to send it to you, Tracy, and you can distribute?
Yeah, because we can review it, so everybody will be on the same page, so when we get ready to pass it, it won't be no excuse saying, I don't have it, okay?
You can share screen.
You sending it to you, Tracy?
Yeah, she can resend it.
Share, hold on 1 second. Actually, she can share. screen, right? Okay, go ahead, Keisha, you should be able to share the screen.
Oh, okay, 1 second.
And also send it to my.
I did, it was just sent, okay. So I believe you can see this now. I can't see if you can see it.
Yeah. we can see it.
So from the contributing entities, so OHM Advisors, we've done work related to preparing this application. So we consider that a contribution to this grant, and that was allocated at $25,000. We put in for appropriation funds, and we, meaning the county on the city's behalf, put in for funds, appropriated funds to do this work, and we're still waiting to find out the result from that. The Cleveland Division of Water allotment was $411.302, so that goes towards the contribution. And then the county did a lot of CCTV work, cameraing the lines at our request, and we approximated that was $10,000. So that's for a total non-district funds of $1,046,302. The total project cost is $3,630,299. So matching non-district funds is 29%. The actual requirement is 20%. So if for any means this changes, as long as it doesn't go below 20%, then we are within compliance of the grant.
Okay, and will this make the water and sewer bill go up in our community? Because our residents, some of them.
No, this does not impact your bill at all.
Okay, I'm just making
The
sure.
sewer district sets up these funds separately. All communities have a potential, have the ability, the opportunity to apply for these funds. You go through an application process, and if they select your project, then the funds are awarded to that community to complete that project. So it's a competitive grant process.
Okay, so far we got, how much did we got granted? Because you said you waiting on a response.
For the, from the county in regards to the appropriated funds.
Madam Chair.
Any question,
Any question?
Yes, Madam
okay.
Chair.
Yes, Councilwoman Patricia would like to ask you a question.
So first it was 20% and then it's 29% match. And some of that is water department funds. But then we have something that's been discussed with three different terms. It's appropriation funds, it's shared Brown appropriation funds, and it's county funds. And I'm not sure how, when and how we would get that and who determines whether we get that? Is that the senator determining it? Is it the county determining it? Are they voting on it in council? In county council, I'm not quite sure of what that is, and that's part of my question, because it has so many different names.
The county applied for the senator's appropriated funds on East Cleveland's behalf. The Sherrod Brown asked the county what projects they thought were priority. The county pulled together application and then turned it in. So it is the senator's office making that determination, not the county. The 29% was once we pulled together the available non-district funds, that percent came out to 29% of the total project cost. 20% is the minimum amount that they require you to have in order to participate in this program.
Okay, and the last part is this community shares funds. Whose is that and where does it come from and how is it determined that we get it?
The community shares is from the sewer district. It is for sewer related repairs. It can include equipment, it can include infrastructure, it can include, I even believe education, but it's for sewer related projects. They allocate an amount, I think it's distributed or allocated to the city quarterly. And that's about the bit of information that I have about it.
I remember, now that you say it's quarterly, I remember hearing before of the quarterly funds that we get, and it's something to do with the surcharge that they're putting on people's bills. Okay, so I understand what that is now. Thank you very much.
Okay, that's it. Any more?
No.
Any more questions? Okay. Well, anybody on the board have a question? No?
What's going on back there? I seen that. What's going on back there? Oh, spider.